Hey, what's up everyone? You got Tiger Chainsaw here, and today I thought I would make a fun video ranking every Mega Man game on the NES, because I've actually beaten all 6 of them on the NES, and I thought, which one's the best? And so I kind of put together my personal rankings, and I'm sure you guys won't agree, and that's okay, but I thought, let's put a list together of the best Mega Man games from worst to first. And if this is your first time on my channel, or if you just haven't yet, make sure you hit that sub button to watch plenty of NES content from countdowns and retrospectives. Now, our favorite Blue Bomber has had 6 adventures on the NES, and today we're ranking them from worst to first. So let's get into it.
Now you're playing with power.
Coming in at number 6, Mega Man. Now, even though this is the worst rated one from my experience, this is a crucial foundation point for the franchise because it's the first one. The first Mega Man set the stage for the following games to come. The ability to select levels was clever, the boss fights were difficult but not impossible, and the uniquely themed stages all gave Mega Man a certain charm. Now, this is a difficult platform game, and if you're into challenges while constantly mashing the fire button, then hey, Mega Man the original might be for you. The first Mega Man, while maybe not as flashy as the sequels, does have some pretty cool enemies in it. Now, I don't know if this is a cool enemy, but it's certainly a tough enemy, but the Yellow Devil was always one that I struggled with. But when you beat him for the first time, it's so satisfying, and then you make your way further and further into Dr. Wily's fortress. It's a great first game in the franchise, and even though it's number 6 on this list, honestly, you guys should check it out if you haven't yet. Coming in at number 5 is Mega Man 5. This was really the first game as a sequel that I just didn't feel like it really added anything to the series. If you liked the first 4 Mega Mans, then you're gonna like the 5th one. There's no surprises, you know the formula by now. It's just cut and dry, you know what you're gonna get. You know that it's Dr. Wily behind the plot. I was not going to be fooled at this point in the franchise when Mega Man 5 came around and they tried the old swapperoo of, oh, it's somebody else. No, it's always Dr. Wily. And in fact, Dr. Wily, at least for me, in Mega Man 5 was the easiest boss battle that I had. His first form was really kind of an easy target in the middle that was just begging to be blown away by the Mega Buster. And then he has a stage where he shoots a circular wave of orbs around him and then disappears before reappearing somewhere else on the screen. He's pretty easy to avoid, and you can take him down with the Mega Buster or Gyro Man's weapon, which can shoot up. Now, there is some cool stuff to Mega Man 5. I really liked Gravity Man's stage where there was reverse gravity sections, and of course there were a few times when Mega Man had to wade through water that either just pushed him along or pulled him, and that aspect has been a staple in the franchise as far as all of the platforming elements, and I did think Mega Man 5 did a pretty good job with those. Next up on the list is Mega Man 3. Mega Man 3 added some pretty cool elements to the franchise with Proto Man and the ability to slide, but for me it just was a little bit too long for my taste, and of course it came with a predictable twist. Now, my playthrough of Mega Man 3 was one of the games where I died the most. It's really brutally difficult, and I'm very thankful that there is a password system for this game. Now, by the 3rd entry in the franchise, it felt like each Mega Man game was getting longer and longer, and Mega Man 3 I think stayed its welcome just a little bit too long. I knew that Dr. Wily would have a base that I'd have to beat, but I was not expecting to face 4 more robot bosses along with the other 8 in this base. But something cool though was that the last 4 take the powers of previous bosses found in the first 2 Mega Man games. Now, while I was annoyed that I had to fight more enemies, I did think that that was pretty clever. And as I mentioned, I did think it was pretty cool that you now have the ability to slide, and I did like the inclusion of Proto Man. Alright, we're now down to the top 3 Mega Man games on the NES. Number 3 is going to be Mega Man 4. And to me, this felt like a complete upgrade over Mega Man 3. You now have an upgraded Mega Buster, you still have the sliding function, Rush's abilities have now become more apparent, and there's been elements added to the stages. Again, you can see the twist coming a mile away, but that's just the formula of Mega Man games. One of the things that I really liked that 4 did that Mega Man 3 did not was have an opening video. They started doing it with Mega Man 2, and that video is just a really cool little bonus to hype you up before you start the game, and I was bummed that Mega Man 3 did not have this. Mega Man 4 brought it back, and it's pretty sick. In fact, it gives you the history between Mega Man and Dr. Wily, so if you're jumping in or you need a little refreshment, this video has you covered. Again, some of the stage hazards and elements I was really digging in this game. Like on Toadman's stage, you have the wind that makes it difficult to jump as it pushes you back. And later on in the level, you'll have sewers that have water streams that push and pull at you. And then there's Brightman's stage, where there's little robots floating around acting as lights. If you blast them, the level will go dark, giving you no visibility. It really adds another unique gameplay element that you have to be strategic about as you make your way through the stages. Mega Man 4 had some really cool levels. Alright, here comes the controversy. No, I do not have Mega Man 2 as my number 1 rated Mega Man game in the series. In fact, Mega Man 2 is going to stay at number 2. Almost everyone has this as the pinnacle of the franchise on the NES, and yes, while it's very good, to me, it was not my favorite. But let's talk about some cool things that it did, starting with that opening video that is so satisfying to watch before you hit start. I think the reason that people value Mega Man 2 so much is because it's clear how much of an upgrade it was to the original Mega Man. They took the formula and they upgraded it in every sense, from the gameplay, the presentation, the enemies, the increased difficulty, but also the tools to help you combat that difficulty. And the Robot Masters are pretty dope in this game. And yes, the soundtrack to Mega Man 2 is phenomenal. The presentation is just superb in this game because also, once you beat the game, you get these really colorful cutscenes that's just really beautiful. One of the things that I think was really needed when you jump from Mega Man to Mega Man 2 was help with your health bar. And in Mega Man 2, they are much more generous at refilling your health. And believe me, I appreciated that because the Mega Man franchise is no walk in the park. It's a tough platformer. No matter what game you choose to play, you're gonna get your butt kicked from time to time. And with Mega Man 2, they were at least generous with the health, and that went a long way in me enjoying the game while still tackling the difficulty of it. While yes, the enemies were pretty tough, some of the toughest parts of Mega Man 2, and maybe in all of the series on the NES, was the platforming elements. Curse those disappearing blocks. I can't tell you how many times I died by missing a jump or by mistiming my jump on a block that would only appear at a certain amount of time or in a certain order. That was a very difficult part of this game, and that's probably not one of my favorite portions of Mega Man 2. You do get some pretty cool gadgets though after beating some of the Robot Masters. That includes a rocket surfboard, a helicopter board, and a small board that hovers up. So yes, while Mega Man 2 is pretty great all around just by the sheer upgrade from the original, no, it is not my favorite Mega Man on the NES. Mega Man 6. Mega Man 6 came out pretty late in the NES cycle, and by this time, Capcom had nailed the formula for what they wanted in a Mega Man game. They had Mega Man 6 firing on all cylinders on the NES. Remember all of the sophisticated level elements and all the cool looking enemies that I've talked about previously? Well, those have all been maximized in Mega Man 6. These environments and levels were super colorful, and I enjoyed running through the castle on Nightman stage or seeing the beautiful blazing sunset on Tomahawk Man stage. One of the cool things that they implemented was the use of dead enemies. In Flame Man stage, there were rivers of oil that you had to cross, and some of the enemies would spit fire on the river and set it ablaze. The only way to cross these rivers was to destroy the quick-moving enemies that resembled the Roomba vacuums. Once you destroyed them, they would flip over and land on the fire river and act as a cushion for you to cross. This was a pretty cool use of enemies. Something else that they added was actually stats for the Robot Masters, as well as small intros for them. Before in the series, the Robot Masters would kind of strike a pose or do a little bit of a dance, but when you face them in Mega Man 6, Mega Man is getting information on them, including their special powers and stats for defense and size. Now, that doesn't really affect the gameplay at all, but that does add to the presentation, which is always a big part of the game for me. One much needed upgrade to the Mega Man series was his jetpack. Using his trusty robot dog Rush, Mega Man has the ability to hover around and reach higher platforms in this mode. I loved it because it didn't require any of the energy. Now the jetpack does have limited fuel, but it does replenish itself once you land. Mega Man 6 sends the series off the NES with a bang. It's the best in the series on the NES. Yes, again, it's better than Mega Man 2, because the Robot Masters are designed really well, and yes, while Dr. Wily is ultimately behind the evil plot, I can at least appreciate them trying to disguise him once again. Mega Man 6 showed that it could tweak the formula and improve the gameplay with one last Mega Man entry on the NES, and thus making it my favorite Mega Man game, at least on the NES. So there you have it. I've ranked every Mega Man game on the NES. Is it kind of surprising to you guys that Mega Man 6 is my favorite? How do you feel about the series? Which one is your favorite? Let me know in the comments below, and while you're there, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel to watch plenty of NES content. Thanks for watching.